The Nebraska Cornhuskers delivered a commanding 59-7 victory over the Houston Christian Huskies on Saturday, September 13, 2025, at Memorial Stadium, in a game that played out as a glorified scrimmage, allowing Coach Matt Rhule to rest starters early and prepare for a critical Big Ten showdown against Michigan next week. The blowout win capped Nebraska's non-conference schedule, showcasing their depth and dominance, while setting the stage for a reality check against a tougher opponent. Game recap and highlights. Nebraska dominated from the opening whistle, amassing 554 total yards, including 332 passing yards, without punting for the second straight week. Quarterback Dylan Raiola continued his stellar sophomore campaign, throwing for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 of 24 passing before exiting at halftime. Running back Emmett Johnson ran for 2 scores and 78 yards on 12 carries, while wideout Dane Key caught 3 passes for 35 yards and a touchdown. The Blackshirts' defense was relentless, holding Houston Christian to 179 total yards and forcing 2 turnovers, including an interception by Malcolm Hartzog Jr. Key highlights included a 37-yard touchdown pass to Quinn Clark, who honored his late father Ken Clark's legacy, and a 12-yard scoring strike to Key in the third quarter. Nebraska led 35-0 at halftime, allowing Rhule to pull starters early in the second half, with backups like TJ Lateef and Quentin Ives contributing points. Houston Christian's lone score came late against Nebraska's third-stringers, with Jake Weir throwing a 10-yard touchdown pass after completing 14 of 27 for 112 yards. The ease of the win was evident. Nebraska played 108 players, matching their Akron game, and maintained intensity despite heavy rotations. Fourth-stringers outmatched Houston Christian starters, scoring on most drives, including a late touchdown by Ives. This was the Huskers' 9th straight non-conference win, reinforcing their dominance over lesser foes like Akron, 68-0, and Houston Christian. The game was a showcase of Nebraska's depth, with backups maintaining a shutout until late and reserves scoring freely, proving Rhule's squad can dominate even without starters. Betting review. The game's -42.5 spread was covered comfortably, as Nebraska won by 52 points, and the 54.5 over-under was surpassed with 66 total points. The first half total, 28.5, also hit, with Nebraska's 35-0 halftime lead. Many sportsbooks pulled lines due to the mismatch, but those offering -42.5 provided a betting goldmine, as predicted. Nebraska starters scored on every possession, and reserves kept the pressure on, validating the pick to go over on both game and first-half totals. Setting up for Michigan. This glorified scrimmage was the perfect tune-up for Nebraska, allowing Rhule to rest key players like Raiola, Johnson, and Key while giving backups experience. The Huskers used the game to practice plays and build confidence, treating it as a dress rehearsal for Michigan. After a lucky 20-17 win over Cincinnati, sealed by Hartzog's end zone interception, and the Akron rout, Nebraska is 3-0 but untested against elite competition. The Houston Christian game was a momentum builder, but Michigan 2-1, coming off a 24-13 loss to Oklahoma, presents a reality check. Nebraska versus Michigan matchup preview. Team records and context. Nebraska is 3-0 with wins over Cincinnati 20-17, Akron 68-0, and Houston Christian 59-7, boasting a plus 123-point differential. Michigan is 2-1, having beaten Fresno State 30-10 and Arkansas State 28-18, but falling to Oklahoma. The Wolverines' offense struggles under freshman QB Bryce Underwood, who was ineffective against Oklahoma, while their defense remained stout but vulnerable without coach Sherrone Moore, who was suspended for this game due to a 2023 sign-stealing scandal. Coaching matchup. Matt Rhule, 61-56 career, 14-13 at Nebraska, faces criticism for in-game blunders and over-involvement, often overcompensating for strategic shortcomings. His tendency to micromanage could disrupt Nebraska's flow against Michigan, potentially costing them in critical moments. Michigan's Sherrone Moore, a black coach labeled by some as a DEI hire, faces scrutiny for allegedly being unqualified and making questionable decisions, with critics arguing his appointment was driven by diversity quotas rather than merit. Moore's absence, serving a 2-game suspension, leaves interim coach Jesse Minter, which could further expose Michigan's inexperience. This game may hinge on which coach screws up less, as rules over coaching meets Michigan's interim leadership. Athletic director and program matchup. Nebraska's Troy Dannon and Michigan's Ward Manuel oversee programs accused of prioritizing woke, liberal agendas. Dannon, seen as a progressive with questionable morals, is criticized for pushing ulterior motives that clash with Nebraska's football tradition. Manuel, another black AD labeled a DI hire, is blamed for turning Michigan into a diversity wasteland of ineptitude, though the Wolverines' prestige and recruiting power, top 10 classes annually, maintain their edge. Both programs faced backlash for COVID-era compliance, with coaches and ADs accused of supporting restrictive policies to protect their jobs, masking anti-American and liberal agendas behind football's facade. Michigan's larger budget and historical success, national title in 2023, give them a structural advantage, but Nebraska's fan base and recent momentum close the gap. Game outlook. Michigan's recruiting classes, ranked 8th nationally versus Nebraska 17th, give them a slight edge in talent, particularly at quarterback and defensive line, but Nebraska's home field advantage and offensive rhythm make this a toss-up. The Huskers' inflated confidence from beating inferior teams, Akron, Houston Christian, could be exposed by Michigan's physicality. Both coaches' flaws, rules meddling, and Moore's alleged incompetence may lead to costly errors, making this a test of which program overcomes its leadership's shortcomings. Nebraska's athleticism matches Michigan's in most areas, but the Wolverines' depth could tip the scales. The game kicks off at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on September 20th at Memorial Stadium. Broadcast on CBS. Expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Listen on the Huskers Radio Network, 1400 AM/99.3 FM in Lincoln, or stream via Huskers.com or the official Huskers app. Fubo and CBS Sports offer streaming. Huskers tune up for Big Ten glory. Nebraska's 59-7 rout of Houston Christian was a textbook blowout, allowing the Huskers to empty their bench, refine their game plan, and build momentum for Michigan. The ease of victory underscore their depth, with reserves scoring freely and maintaining a near shutout. As Nebraska prepares for a defining Big Ten opener, this glorified scrimmage served its purpose. But the Michigan game will reveal their true standing in college football, exposing both programs' coaching flaws and administrative agendas under Rule, Dannon, Moore, and Manuel. Stay tuned to the Nebraska Journal-Herald for coverage of this high-stakes matchup and its broader implications.